losing its reputation as the city of beaches. Recent demonstrations at Sydney's Bondi Beach made headlines both nationally and internationally.
You ever come up with a mouthful of shit?
Oh, no, it's not as graphic as that, but the water's dirty, but it has been for years, you know. It's just like all of a sudden everyone's woken up. I don't think it's much worse now than what it has been for the last few years.
What do you think should be done about it?
I don't know. I think it's terrible, though. I mean, I wouldn't go in the water here. You know, it's the famous Bondi Beach, and you couldn't pay me to get in the water.
What, in your opinion, is fishing out there in Bondi?
Oh, it varies. I mean, it depends on which way the wind's blowing. If it's blowing northeast, then it comes around here into the beach. All sorts of junk comes in.
See our faces crying out. All we have to say, things stop and seem to look now.
The levels of pesticides and chemicals in the fish are hundreds of times greater than the National Health and Medical Research Council guidelines. Not only that, but these fish don't just have one toxic chemical in them, they have a whole cocktail of toxic chemicals and pesticides in them, so that I think they must be quite dangerous for people who eat a number of them.
All us people as one voice are going to finally say, your time's finished, the lies have got to stop, the deception's got to stop. Now you've got to get back to reality. Now you've got to start doing what we want you to do, and that's take care of business. We're not interested in outfall. We're not interested in poisoning fish. We're not interested in having beaches where we can't swim. We're interested in realistic solutions. We don't care how much it costs. It's our money anyway. You know, have you forgotten that, fellas? It's our money.
You can see the sewage field out Bondi again today. It comes around the corner from the north headland there, and it breaks up. You can see it breaking up into a sewage slick. It's diluted sewage floating on the surface of the ocean. Now this system we've got is a mixture of industrial waste and domestic waste that comes from homes and offices, and it all mixes together in a toxic cocktail in the sewers and is poured out in the ocean. Now what the government plans to do is to extend the length of the sewer about 1.5 kilometres off the headland here. And they're telling us that this is going to be adequate. You're right. That's bullshit. And what we're going to do is to turn back the tide once and for all. Turn back this brown tide.
What do you think of the show?
Excellent, mate.
Yeah.
We want more.
Are you here for the music, or are you here because you're upset about the pollution of the water?
That's fine, I can't even go for a swim.
Do you swim?
Yeah, all very swim, mate.
It's pretty bad, isn't it? Can't even go for a swim without catching some disease.
You're a Kiwi?
For sure. What else are we doing in Bondi?
What do you think about what's going on here today?
I think it's great.
Do you know what the concert's all about?
Something about tidying up the beach or something like that, right?
Are you a visitor here?
Yeah, New York.
There's a lot of sewage going out into the oceans.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty stupid. I think someone's actually trying to do something about it.
I think it's bringing attention to it worldwide, because I've talked to a lot of people who have just come over and have heard about it. So, you know, that's where you got to start. Go from there and maybe bring it to, you know, maybe get some of these politicians to wake up and get off their butts.
You're saying that news of Australia's pollution problem is making it overseas?
You betcha.
In a big way?
Yep, in a big way.
And where are you from, Canada?
States, East Coast.
Where you come from?
Singapore originally.
Yeah, any pollution there?
Oh, yes and no, but not as bad as this there. We don't push our shit out to sea.
The extended ocean outfall off the coast of Los Angeles in California is one that Sydney outfalls are modelled on, and that has been unsuccessful even though they've had partly secondary treatment there, and they've actually been forced to go to full secondary treatment by the federal government, and also they're not allowed to dump sludge, and sludge is the solids that they settle out. they're not allowed to dump sludge at all off the coast of California, whereas we are still dumping sludge every day at night at our outfalls.
Sludge?
Sludge, which is a sort of black, oozy substance.
At night, the
it's
sludge
dumped
is
at
being
night
dumped.
because it is very visible, and people would be horrified if they saw it going out during the day. The treatment that occurs is that something less than 20% of the solids are removed, but the rest of the sewage goes out.
20% of the solids is not very much.
Well, less than 20%, yes. No, it's not very much. Primary treatment, which we theoretically have at our outfalls, is supposed to remove about 60% of the suspended solids. So as you can see, we don't even have full primary treatment, whereas everywhere else in Australia, all the major cities in Australia have secondary treatment, and overseas too. Secondary treatment is far more common as a treatment method, yet Sydney seems to be far behind in this.
When they complete this outfall system, the submarine ocean outfall system, the sewage will be more diluted when it hits the beach than it is now, and it'll be harder to identify visually. But the pollution will still be there, and the toxic waste will still be in the sewers and going into the ocean. So what we've got to do is to first of all get the toxic waste out of the sewers at source. We've got to stop. We've got to make the industries stop using the sewers as a toxic waste dump. Then we can go to full secondary treatment to treat the sewage before it goes into the ocean, and that way we can overcome the second problem, which is the risk of getting infectious disease from swimming in polluted surf.
What's your message to the government?
Just to stop pollution. I mean, nobody else can but the government, I suppose.
What about the rest of you? Do you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Sydney's just got shit on the beaches, and there's only one way to get rid of it, you know, and that's find a better alternative.
We don't care if you spend $20 million or 60 million or 100 million. Just clean the shit up.
Yes, too right. And let's hope the government does something about this sewage and toxic waste going into our ocean.